Thank you guys for tuning in to this video. This is a very rare performance by myself. You're going to be able to see what I go through every single day, what hands analysis that I go through every single day over the next probably 7 or 8 videos that I'm going to release. I spent 9 days in Florida. It was very good. I managed to record an entire start to finish to final table Big O tournament every single hand that I played. Let me know what you guys like about it. Let me know what you don't like about it. I'm mixing in a little bit of Life of a Grinder with cash analysis, just so that way you can see the things that I go through. Also, you might have noticed some of the new shirts, new merchandise has come in. We have Don't Pay the Net. Hello. Because you know when you pay those nets, that money gets locked up and you're never going to get it again. It proudly supports the Madhouse, the club that I belong to. So please feel free. Take a look at the Etsy store, order some things. We've got hoodies, we've got blankets, we've got calendars, we've got shirts. I've got more poker shirts coming out. One of the best things I heard for a poker shirt that is going to be coming out shortly is pot, rebuy. That's all it's going to say. I think that's perfect for Pot Limit Omaha players. You guys tell me. If you haven't already, go ahead and hit the like and subscribe. If you're curious, what the hell room are you in, Josh? This is my coaching room. One of my subscribers while I was down in Florida ran into me, was very excited about my 100x challenge, buying in for $100 and running it up to $10,000 on Big O in a single session. I can rebuy as many times as I want. I can change tables, but I cannot add on. And I have to do it in one session. Incredibly challenging task. Well, he decided to make a challenge that gave me goosebumps and said that if I'm able to achieve that task, that he will donate $2,500 to the charity of my choice. Thought that was amazing. And I'm reaching out to all of my viewers right now to see if we can have a commitment of a total of $10,000 to raise for charity. Keep in mind, I'm going to give myself 3 different attempts. Each attempt, I'm going to give myself about 72 hours. I don't know exactly how long it's going to take. And my max buy-in is $100, and I have one session to run it up to $10,000. And I'm going to update Twitter and Instagram every 2 hours. I am pretty crazy in trying this out, but we're now we have better reasons to do it than just for funsies. Now we have charitable reasons to do it. So if you guys have watched my vlog, you know I'm pretty big into charities, so I really appreciate that, Steven. And let me know either instant messenger, on Instagram or Twitter or on YouTube if you would like to be part of that. And we'll see if we can get 10 grand raised while I'm trying to hit 10 grand. Provided I'm good enough or lucky enough or stubborn enough to hit it. In the meantime, enjoy the video. Play smart and run like a god. So we're booking a $1,500 loss here at the Big Easy. One of the rules that Wayne and I have, just from experience, is we have a no play on travel day. Now, I had gotten to Florida one day before this and had a really good session online, won a little over $3,000 online. So I decided to violate one of the basic rules that Wayne and I established in order to maintain and keep our bankroll, which is don't play on a travel day. Now, I told Wayne when I left I was just going to have a quick 2-hour session. Maybe I played 3.5 hours. And I told Wayne that, most trips, if I start off losing, I feel like I'm behind the wheel, so I tend to play better. And that usually means I have a positive outcome at the end of the trip. But again, I didn't have to punt off all $1,500. I violated one of the rules. Don't play on a travel day. This is why tracking is so important, because you know that you're less likely to win on these days. So I violated one of the basic things. You can see that I, too, am human. PLO 5 here is really shitty. People said that it was really juicy, but $1,500 loss, whatever. They had a $25 bomb pot game going, which I was tempted to play, but $25 is pretty steep. It's basically $200 in orbit. And I think the biggest challenge that you run into there is on that table too, there was a bunch of tight people. So I hate to say this, but I came down to Florida and I'm looking forward to going back to the Airbnb and actually just playing online.
having a bit of a identity crisis with live poker right now. Like, it's one of those things that, do I just stick to live poker for tournaments? I don't know. I can't imagine that case. But, I mean, it is kind of a travel day. I just wanted to get the jitters out. So $1,500 loss, whatever. I mean, like yesterday online, I was up $3,500 at one point. So, and I did it while watching TV, drinking, stoned on the couch with my mom. So it's like, she wasn't stoned or drinking, but I mean, you know, versus coming here and half the table speaking Spanish, the other half of the table speaking Russian. But yeah, so far, not a good vibe. Not at the Big Easy. Unfortunately, I think I'm just going to stick with Hard Rock in Hollywood. I don't know. We'll get them tomorrow. I'm not too worried about it. Stuck 1,500 live here in Miami. I'm going to go grind that back online.
So moving onward to the next day, one of the things I coach my students on is being a professional poker player sometimes is like being an NFL quarterback. If you throw an interception on the previous set of downs, you just got to get right back up and try throwing a touchdown. So basically, we're trying to forget about yesterday. Now we're going 6 ways to the flop on this board. It's king 8 deuce with 2 diamonds, and we have top 2 pair. So when I bet about 2/3 pot size bet, 175 into 300, I'm really just trying to charge anybody who has a diamond draw because there's no straight connectivity here. I get one caller out of the small blind who, at the time, I did not realize this, but happens to be one of the tightest guys probably in the room. So when the 10 of spades turns over and he checks, I'm going with my initial gut read saying, well, he's got a diamond draw because I only have one diamond in my hand. We're playing PLO 5. So I'm going to go ahead and charge max. I'm going to go ahead and pot it now that my hand's improved to a 2-pair draw with a straight draw. Now, when my opponent's going in the tank, what he's really doing is he's just double checking that he does have what he told me later on to be top set of kings with a straight and a flush draw. So he's going to check pot me, and it ends up saving me money because he had me absolutely crushed. Had he let me just continue to blast off and let me catch up on anything, really the only live card that I had was a 6. So in the long run, he ends up saving me money because I ended up just folding it. So the first hand I showed you guys getting stuck, I had one of my viewers down there that said to me, he goes, it's funny how I never see you lose any of your hands. Well, it just so happens in this trip, not only did I lose $1,500 on a travel day, that now I'm losing money in 5-5 5-card PLO, and I'm soon to find out that this game is a little bit tighter than I would have liked to hope. So I'm going to go ahead and mix it up a little bit. I make it 30 pre-flop with King Jack 10 8 7 3 to a flush of spades. This is not a good hand to raise with. This is just the professor being on red ass tilt, realizing we're in a tight game, and I'm just really hoping to flop a little something. So I joked around a lot that, you know, pile in Omaha is just a lot like unprotected sex. You got to let your opponents catch a little something just to make it burn. Flop comes king 9 8, and lo and behold, the first player to act actually opens up for $75. Look down at my hand. I'm like, you know what? Medium 2-pair, you know, up and down 2-pair kings over 8s. Plus a complete wrap draw. I think this is the time to apply pressure. You know, I have a not so great hand, and this is actually one of the top boards I could hope for. So I decided to go ahead and raise it to $350. Now, it's kind of funny because I travel with this guy named Wayne. Occasionally we play at the same table, and it's always ironic how the card gods just decide to let us clash hands. The guy to my left happens to be none other than Wayne Gonkfish Poker. So when he reaches for chips, I know his worst range is 10 Jack Queen with nut clubs. He's all in for $420. Now, his re-raise does not open it up for me to re-raise anymore. The only people who can do that are people who haven't called yet or the gentleman who started off by betting $75. Now, the dealer is going to make sure that 420 is the right bet. I know even if Wayne does have a set of kings and I'm being coolered here, I don't have the wrong odds. So I just put my opponent on clubs and Wayne has set of kings, or my opponent that's not Wayne probably has a similar type of wrap draw, and me having 2-pair might have some advantages against him. So we're going to go 3 ways to the turn. At this point, I'm figuring if a club comes and my opponent leads pot, because I do have about another $800-900 behind, I'm not going to call it. But if it comes one of my wrap cards, I'm going to jam into them. Turn comes a 3 of clubs. My opponent decides to bet pot, And instantly my heart sinks and I'm like, I'm done with this hand. Now, the reason why I freeze frame it here is because the river comes out a 7 and my opponent shows a set of 9s with just the ace club. So he's betting completely into a dry pot. Wayne ends up turning over a set of kings and he's going to end up scooping it. The only reason why Wayne wins his hand is because the other player decides to do a huge misplay and bet when he has no value. Looking back at this PLO 5 videos, I think the action was pretty good on the PLO 5 table. I think it was just after this I had a couple of instances where it was tight, but at least for the first day, there was really good action. But yeah, we looked down at 7-7-9 ace king with double suited in the club and heart variety. We make it $30 pre-flop. We get one caller. The gentleman who was in the hand with us that bet with the dry ace decides to just kick it up a notch. He wants to kick it up, and he 3-bets to 105. Now, at this point, I'm really not going anywhere. We are pretty deep stack, so I'm going to go ahead and call 105, and the person behind us calls. So we're going to go 3 ways to a flop. So the pot's starting to brew at 345. Now, when you're the 3-better and you're out of position, it really puts you at a disadvantage because if you don't smash the flop, your opponents get to control the action. And when the board comes king 6-7, we flop middle set. We are blocking top set with the king. There are 2 spades out there, and there's 2 to a straight. Now, we're blocking one of the straight cards with the 9, but this is such a wet board. I want to bet almost full pot to make sure that my opponents, if they are going to call, they're going to pay for it. So I bet full pot. First person gets out of the way. Second player goes in the tank for a little bit, and he's going to go ahead and decide to call. So we're going heads up to the turn against somebody who 3-bet out of position, and we have middle set. Now, the turn comes a deuce of clubs, really the most bricky brick card in the bricky brick deck. And when my opponent decides to check, I don't waste any time to elect full pot. It's $895. So I put the whole thing out there. I've only got $80 behind. So at this point, I'm thinking it doesn't matter what the river is going to come because if he does call, I'm just going to put in the 80 bucks. If he earned it, he earned it. So be it. All I'm hoping, I think I need to just dodge spades or dodge a straight card. He elects to call. The gentleman doesn't even have a spade draw. He has 8, 8, 9, 10 in his hand. And the river's a 5. I only found that out because, of course, I called $80. Now, it really sucks that I end up losing this pot, but looking back at it, this is how you get stuck for a lot of money in PLO 5. And we're going to see if we can show you some pots where maybe we turn the tables a little bit and hopefully we run it up. Enjoy. So you can see I've rebought and I'm on a different seat on the same table. I end up looking down at a pretty decent hand, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10. We have 3 hearts in our hand. We'd prefer this to be double suited, but considering we're stuck, we're on a new seat, we're not going anywhere, even though it's a 3-bet pot, and we're out of position. We're first to act. It's 110 to go. But at this point, I'm in full hit mode. Let's go, Buttercup. We need to get unstuck. So going 3 ways to the flop, it's 345 in the flop, and the board comes 794. So I flop top 2 pair with an open-ended straight draw. I'm going to bet this out. I'm not really behind that many hands. So I bet 225 to kick the party off. The player right behind me decides to call, and this guy just comes in and raises for $900. Jesus, this pot blew up really quickly. Now I'm sitting here thinking, why the hell did this happen so quickly? But I'm never behind that much. So, okay, I call. Now the guy behind me, he just says, well, if I'm going to call 900, he might as well go all in. So he ends up deciding to go all in for 1,080. And the dealer's figuring that out. And I'm thinking, holy shit, this pot blew up pretty quickly. And I mean, obviously, I'm not going to go anywhere. I have top 2 pair, open-ended straight draw. What can my opponents have? I mean, they might have like a set of 4s, maybe a set of 9s. I mean, I'm kind of blocking a set of 9s, a set of 7s. I'm kind of blocking a set of 7s. If they have a full wrap, I'm blocking a lot of their cards. Like if they have 5, 6, 8, 10. So I think I'm up against probably like a set of 4s is what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that the guy who bet 900 has a set of 4s. He could have a set of 9s, and I'm just drawing really, really thin. But my gut tells me that he's probably got a set of 4s, probably with some combo draw, like 4, 4, 5, 6, maybe with backdoor clubs. So I'm still never behind that, so I decide to call. And yeah, we're going 3 ways to the turn, and the turn is a pretty solid brick. The deuce of diamonds. It does bring in backdoor diamonds. I check. The gentleman behind me, he he reaches for chips and he only bets $1,000. And I'm thinking, holy shit, buddy. I think if you bet pot or put me all in, I think I could make some arguments to fold here. I'm like, but when you're only betting $1,000, there's already 3,600 in the pot, so I'm calling 1,000 to win 4,600. I'm getting 4.5 to my money to 1. So even if I'm just counting on my straight draws being good, I think I have to call here. So I think I'm just sitting here going, oh man, I really hate calling $1,000 now. I feel like for sure he's got a set of fours and he's probably got 5-6 to go with it, but he's just giving me too good of a price. So I call and I go, let's dance, baby. And the river, oh my God, the river's a 6 of diamonds. It does bring in backdoor diamonds, but at this point, I'm like, it, if you got diamonds, you got me. I go all in. And at this point, I'm thinking maybe he does have 5-8. 5-8's going to have to call here. And he looks at his hand and he mucks. I turn over a straight, 10 high straight. Gentleman behind me that was all in, I believe he had 7-9 ace ace with a backdoor to the clubs. But so we're going to end up winning this one. We end up getting bailed out.
So we have played our first session at the Hard Rock. The action is, what do you think, Wayne?
Yeah, no, it's pretty good. I mean, we're a little bit of adjustment playing 5 card. So I kind of played a little cautiously, more cautious, I guess, than usual at the beginning, just because, you know, extra card, different. But
yeah, Wayne played really tight. I played my normal loosey-goosey, eating a ham sandwich. Instantly was in the game for $5,500. But we managed to book a little bit of a win, like $600 win. So yeah. I'm feeling pretty good. I had a huge hand. You guys will see it. But yeah, action's great here. You have to have the right set of players, I think, at the table, because we just got up, decided to go eat lunch. Because we were at the 5-5 game, and the main game had literally 3 really tight players, and they're all to my right. Literally my worst position I could be in. So sometimes when you're playing poker for a living or grinding, having the right table selection is like key. Don't you think, Wayne?
yeah, for sure. I mean, most people's skill level is pretty similar, but I mean, there is an argument to be made, like, hey, you want to play against the best players to, I guess, be the best, or beat the best to, to be the best. But if you're just trying to do this for a living and make the most hourly possible, you want the best games.
Thank you guys for tuning in. I'll try to update the next episode as soon as I possibly can. I'm going to try doing a decent amount of them so that way I can make it to some wacky weekend of poker at the lodge. That's what I'm going to try doing. But if you haven't already, hit the like and subscribe. I appreciate it. Let me know what you guys think about the new variety or new style. If you guys like this where it's in chronological order, I think it's kind of cool, but I want your guys' feedback on that. Just comment down below. Thank you. Peace. And don't forget, play smart and run like a god.